for Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame induction ceremony and reception. We're thrilled again this year to be at Locksville Distillery to welcome our 22nd class of inductees. As you've heard me say many times before, the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame is my favorite event of the year. It's the one time when we all get together and celebrate our successes, cheer bourbon heroes, and toast those who have gone by. It's like a family reunion every year. That unity, that spirit of collaboration and camaraderie is a hallmark of our industry and the foundation of everything we do at the Kentucky Distillers Association. So thank you all for your continued support and leadership, and most of all, thank you all for your friendship. Not only does it make our job easier at the KDA, as you hear me say a lot, you're all stronger by working together, so thank you. Our final inductee is this year's recipient of the prestigious Parker Beam Lifetime Achievement Award. The KDA created the Lifetime Achievement Award in 2015 to honor Parker, and he was its first recipient. Other recipients have been Jimmy Russell, Bill Samuels Jr., Max Shapira, Evan Coulsveen, and the late Steve Thompson. Parker joined Heaven Hill in 1960 as a sixth-generation distiller in his storied family. He became master distiller in 1975 and earned numerous awards for distilling, aging, and selecting some of the world's most acclaimed bourbons. He was named Master Distiller Emeritus in 2013, shortly after being diagnosed with ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease. Parker's public advocacy for ALS research, care, and awareness has generated millions for his Promise of Hope Fund. We unfortunately lost Parker in 2017 at the age of 75, but his legacy lives on through his whiskey and this Parker Beam Lifetime Achievement Award. So please, let's applaud Parker and thank him. This year's recipient for the Parker Beam Lifetime Achievement Award is no stranger to anyone in this room. A prolific and consistent maximum donor to the KDA's Bourbon Show PAC. Let's say that again. A prolific and consistent donor, maximum donor to the KDA's Bourbon Show PAC. You might be surprised to learn that Ken Lewis' original career path was being an English teacher after graduating with highest honors in English at the University of Michigan and earning a master's teaching certificate at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. In fact, Ken was teaching high school in Detroit when his father asked him to come home to Louisville and turn around a small liquor store. The rest, as they say, is history. Ken went on to build a Party Source mega store, the first of its kind in the country. He championed efforts for Sunday sales and initiated litigation that allowed retailers to use credit cards for sales. Learning the industry from the bottom up, Ken brought innovation and entrepreneurship as the founder of New Riff Distilling in Northern Kentucky, paving the way for the craft bourbon boom that now counts dozens of Kentucky distilleries. This ought to be a treat. Please welcome Fred Joseph, retired partner at Stacey Harbison, who has known Ken since Ken was 7 years old, to introduce Ken Lewis, retired CEO, operating owner, and co-founder of New Riff Distilling.
I've known Ken for more than 65 years in at least 10 capacities. He was a pesky little brother, a woman who I dated for 8 years and whose friend I've been married for 65 years. He was a tenderfoot scout, and I was a senior patrol leader. He was a camper in Wisconsin when I was a counselor. He was my business partner at the Party Source. He was my wife's boss when she was the wine buyer at the Party Source. He was my client for more than 50 years, during which time as his attorney, we worked together on some very successful and too many unsuccessful business propositions. It's important to say and to note very clearly that Ken was the same in a winning proposition as a losing proposition. He was the adjoining property owner when the two of us owned farms in Shelby County. He and Molly were an Indian princess with my daughter. He was a recipient of numerous referrals from business professionals with whom all of whom gave me the same response: what a joy it is to deal with them. It's safe to say after all that time and all these interactions, I know him pretty well. I can assure you that the Ken Lewis that you see is the Ken Lewis you get. The Ken Lewis you see is the Ken Lewis you get. Each of you have known him in capacities other than that I've mentioned, but I'm sure we share the same observations. He's exceptionally intelligent, graduating from the University of Michigan with high honors and a master's degree from Harvard. Don't begin to reflect how bright he is. The trait that distinguishes Ken, however, is not his intelligence. A lot of folks are very intelligent. Ken combines that with down-to-earth understanding and real savvy. He's creative. He established the Party Source chain, in which capacity he was Retailer of the Year by both Market Watch and Beverage Media, as well as having been selected by his peers as Wine's Guild President. He's incredibly hardworking and willing to do any job. I recall when the first liquor outlet store was opening, it was Ken on the floor on the hands and knees removing tiles from an old grocery store. He's fascinated by any business challenge, lobbying for Sunday liquor sales and initiating a court challenge to allow credit cards to be used for liquor were illustrative of this trait. He's not afraid to make a mistake and to take corrective actions. Thankfully, several of Ken's initiatives have had very short lives. He treats with dignity and respect not only his employees and customers, but everyone with whom he comes into contact. His concern for his employees is manifest by the fact that when he sold the Party Source to create New Riff, he sold the business to his employees rather than to the highest bidder. He is modest and reticent in talking about his success. Last but surely not least, he is a man of his word. It is those traits which have made him the basis for these well-deserved honors. For those of you who are sufficiently pedantic or bored to count to 10 capacities by which I was related to Ken, you'll notice that I only mentioned 9, saving the most important for last. Ken is my longtime, dear friend. It's a privilege to introduce you to Ken Lewis.
Well, I got the award, do I have to say something? I guess I do. That's very humbling. Parker Bean, Lifetime Achievement Award. Very humbling indeed. Thank you to everyone who has made this happen for me today and all the other inductees. I appreciate the KDA. It's an outstanding organization. Eric, you're a fantastic executive director. I've enjoyed working with you today. You're going to do more next year and the years after. You're a very bright guy. I think you know that, and apologies to Jack and to Adam and Eric, but the people that are actually running your organization are the women of the KDA. And they do a great job. Thank you for that lovely introduction. You never said any of that stuff to me before in 65 years. Yeah, I've known him that long. Certainly a friend, a fantastic attorney in Stacey, Harbison, and Louisville, a mentor, an advisor. And the usual advice was, Ken, are you sure you want to do that? Because I failed many times along the way and dragged Fred into many of those things. Always my wingman. Through good times and bad, and I appreciate it very much, Fred. And in addition, I want to thank Ann Joseph. Fred is her husband, and Ann was my wine buyer early on in Louisville, the first liquor outlet in Shiloh, Kentucky. And is the person responsible, in my opinion, for bringing fine wine sales into Kentucky, where they used to say, you can't sell any decent wine. We don't even want to talk to you, Ann. But they did, and we did sell some good wine. Thank you, Ann, for all you've done for our industry as well. Of course, I'm thrilled and so appreciative to have been selected to be a member of the Hall of Fame, and of course, the Parker Bean Lifetime Achievement Award. this will certainly go down as one of the best days in my life. I'm particularly appreciative of a 50-year career in an industry that I love, the beverage alcohol industry. First as a retailer for many decades, and then later and now as a distillery owner. It really is humbling. And when I think about those other names who have received the Parker Bean Lifetime Achievement Award, I'm really not sure I belong in that list, and humbled by the award. I will say about that the highest praise that a person can receive is the approval and respect of folks in your own industry. So thank you, all these industry people. So 50 years, I'm a very forward-looking strategic person, but today only it's certainly a very retrospective day. When I think back on that 50-year career, first of all, I think how privileged I am to have been part of this great industry we all share. I actually, well, at the heart of the bourbon or the beverage alcohol business, at its best, is really all about sharing, in my opinion. Sharing a bottle of wine, sharing a bottle of bourbon with family, friends, sharing with food, telling stories, eliciting laughter, sharing the ups and downs of sports and the ups and downs of our lives. And sharing is what I tried to do when, after other stores, liquor outlet, Ken's Liquor, brilliantly named, that I started at in the West End of Louisville. I came to start the Party Source, and sharing is what I tried to do with the Party Source. Sharing my belief that beverage alcohol should be shared with customers, sold to customers, in the same context it should be consumed. A healthy celebration of family and friendship, bright, friendly, upbeat stores filled with gourmet foods, party goods, and the beverage alcohol that so often accompanies the happiest moments of our lives. At the time, and a lot of us are industry vets, going back 30, 40 years, you knew that the stores that beverage alcohol was sold in sort of communicated a sin sensibility. Places that women, I know in the controlled states like Ohio, I'm not always sure that women were very comfortable walking into some of those stores. So I wanted to flip that message and sell beverage alcohol in the healthy context that we all hope it is consumed. When it came time, and the Party Source happily was successful, when it came time to switch, well, migrate career a little bit and get into the distilling business, I was a little bored. Distilling was very hard. I had done it for decades. If you do it well, you do it night and day and every holiday, and a little burned out. I was excited. Jay Harrisman and I, my colleague, saw the bourbon boom happening in front of our eyes, of course, at the Party Source in Northern Kentucky. And we thought that there was a real opportunity. There were no distilleries in greater Cincinnati at the time. And look, it's a community that's 2-3 times bigger than Louisville, but certainly Lexington. Surely a distillery, and it has a long history, a very proud history in Cincinnati of distilling, or maybe sometimes rectifying, but be that as it may, of alcohol. And when we decided to go into this due to licensing, the 3-tier system, it was clear I would have to divest the Party Source for licensing. And I was thrilled, truly, to share the success of the Party Source by selling it to the employees and not examining the possibility of selling to a much higher bidder. Because I just felt the employees had earned it. It was their success a lot more than it had been mine. I may have had the idea that they executed day after day very ably. And I'm proud to say that Party Source has continued to be a marvelous success. There's a couple representatives here today. Thank you, Heather and John, for being here. And it thrives. They paid me back early. After the Party Source, as I say, the distilling, give it a shot. And we started New Riff. And it was pretty audacious what we were doing. to put in and the way I knew to do it, not knowing anything about distilling, was to put together an amazing team, a smart, visionary, hardworking people together. And for that group, I said, let's have an audacious goal of together creating a great small distillery of the world. And we know we're not there. It's like, free crab tomorrow, at Joe's Crab Shack. It's always tomorrow. We'll always be striving to be a great small distillery of the world. And there's no one, the Queen's not going to come and anoint us and say, your time has come. So for decades and decades, and I hope generations on, we'll keep trying and striving to be a great small distillery of the world. But nonetheless, an audacious goal. A little bit like the poor greyhound, with the carrot, and the rabbit. Always in front of it, going around and around the track. We'll keep doing it for decades. That's what we're built to do. And by the way, while we're trying to become a great small distillery of the world, and this is why I've never had any partners, we'll eschew maximum profitability and we'll go in favor of maximum quality. Because actually we believe, and the whole team at New Riff believes, that you can't have maximum profitability and maximum quality in the same business. You may disagree, but that's what we believe. We'll keep working to build that great small whiskey distillery. And where did we decide to put it? Well, right there with the party source. In northern Kentucky, there were no distilleries. In northern Kentucky, I'm going to say, was not on the Bourbon Trail and not part of the Bourbon lexicon. And it was part of our goal to make that, to effectuate a change in that, and to put northern Kentucky on that map. So, in addition, as if all of that to be a great small distillery and to transform northern Kentucky into having a real Bourbon identity along with the rest of Kentucky, and if that wasn't enough, our goal was to work tirelessly to create a workplace culture that we thought would be fairly different, a place that was preeminently about respect, about decency, about kindness, and acceptance of all peoples, all lifestyles. And we'll share those dreams with our Northern Kentucky community as we continue to work to put it on the map. So building that workplace culture was almost as important as creating great whiskey. So, in the end of that story, that's not the end, I shouldn't say that, it's simply a milestone, is the cherry on top of the Manhattan, so to speak, is all those dreams that I've just enunciated that are in progress, and will never fully utilize, thank goodness, will somehow become imbued, and I think it has, in our whiskey itself. So, that's our story, that's what we've been trying to do. And I want to thank everyone from Northern Kentucky and my family, my children are here, Fred and Ann, my wife who keeps things on the up and up for me at all times and shares everything with me. So at this point I'd like to close, and I'd like to just say that what, to me, as I think about being the humbling current recipient of the Parker Beam Lifetime Achievement Award and becoming a member of the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame, the statement, the expression that has always been part of my life, and I've tried to live up to, and differentiated, I think, in some ways, and certainly animated my life. I'd like, in closing, just to share that expression that will mean something particularly to Fred. We've shared it our whole lives together. All that you send into the lives of others will come back into your own. One more time I'll say it because it means so much to me. All that you send into the lives of others will come back into your own. Thank you for all you've put back into my life very much. Thank you.
And as I said before, if you hang out with us bourbon folks long enough, there's going to be no toast. So to properly celebrate the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame class of 2024, please welcome Stacey Phelps, President of the Bardstown Nelson County Tourist Commission, to the stage to lead us in our signature toast from the Bardstown collection. Welcome, Stacey.
Today, as we gather in the spirit of Kentucky's proud heritage, where the art of distilling has been passed down and perfected through the generations and cherished around the world. Today is not just a tribute to the amber liquid that fills our glasses, but to the passion, craftsmanship, and stories that each bottle carries. Bourbon is more than just a drink. It is a symbol of our state's rich culture, resilience, and pursuit of excellence. It represents the hard work of those who have dedicated their lives to perfecting every batch, the traditions that bind us together, and the innovative spirit that continues to drive us forward. Today, as we honor those who have made extraordinary contributions to the bourbon industry, let us raise our glasses, not just to them, but to the legacy they leave behind and the bright futures they inspire. Here's to the pioneers, the innovators, and the storytellers of Kentucky's most cherished craft. May we continue to savor the spirit of bourbon with every sip, and may the bonds we share grow stronger with every toast. To Kentucky, to bourbon, and to the Hall of Fame, cheers.